So, I just wanted to share my experience right now of what it is to be an overwhelmed mom of 3 kids. I'll probably be interrupted a million times. Right now, my 6-year-old daughter is having a fit. Because her baby brother wanted to look at the book that she was looking at, and he was grabbing onto the pages. And I asked her, because I was not near her, to remove his hands from the pages so that they don't tear. And she screamed at me, "No!" And so I said, "Then I don't know how to help you." And she screamed at me, and so I came by and took the book away from the both of them. I had to walk away and send her to her room because it's just another one of those days where, like, just the constant loud noises and the screaming and the yelling is so overwhelming over the smallest things. I have an almost 10-year-old. I have a barely 6-year-old and a 20-month-old. Boy. My baby boy, he's not speaking yet, and his way of communication is obviously with lots of sounds and screams and, the norm. The kids are on Thanksgiving break this week. I don't work, obviously. When the kids are in school, they are there from about, like 8:45 to 3 o'clock, and then they go to the Boys and Girls Club. And they're there until about 5:30. I just got them into the Boys and Girls Club for my own sanity. But, also because my daughter, she showed interest because a couple of her friends go to the Boys and Girls Club too. I'm gonna breastfeed him. Hold on. So they just started the Boys and Girls Club at the beginning of the month of November. And do you think that, like, the time spent with, just my 20-month-old son, away from all of them all at once, because they're at school and at the Boys and Girls Club, like, that would be enough for me to relax and feel a little less pressure. And still I find myself struggling to make it through the day. it's hard for me to get out of bed. It's hard for me to do anything that I know I'm supposed to do. I get out of bed every morning, and as soon as I leave the room, I just want to crawl back into bed. And my blood pressure is high, and I'm only 30 years old, and I feel like I've been living in fight or flight mode for like a decade now, honestly. And there was a period of time from 2019 to 2022 where it was like nothing but just being on high alert and being alone and with my kids, like having to do it all. And now that I'm back, and I've been back since 2022, like with family and my husband, and I finally have stability and a home that I know is not going to be taken from me, and my kids, and but it's like I can't get out of that fight or flight response. I can't like just relax. I can't just feel like everything is okay. And I feel like I've had all of these health issues, health problems, and it's hard for me to differentiate between, I'm feeling what I'm feeling and I'm going through what I'm going through because I'm an overwhelmed, busy mom, or because I'm just like really sick, I'm supposed to be tested for POTS. I have a 21-year-old, well, almost 21-year-old stepson, and he lives here with us, and he works, but like stays up late at night and sleeps in all morning. And my 20-month-old son, he screams and cries all the time because he's a baby, and babies get frustrated because they don't know how to talk, and so I'm constantly having to try to keep him quiet and shush him down, and because my stepson gets upset, and understandably I do get it, but simultaneously it's like, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. We have a big family. I feel like there should be a little bit of like reasoning or understanding when it comes to like all the kids and the noise that comes with them. I shouldn't have to like feel on edge. I feel like if my baby is screaming or crying or making noises, in fear of like waking him up. But I also feel like shit, because of it. And like he hides in his room all day and all night unless he's at work. Because, he's been through a lot in his childhood, and we just want him to be a part of the family, and he just kind of keeps to himself. And we did like an early Thanksgiving, on Monday. Today's Wednesday. Because that was the day that everyone had off. And so I spent all day making the entire Thanksgiving dinner. And, he came out at some point. He grabbed a plate of food and went back into his room. And that was it. Like, and so I brought up the high blood pressure thing to my doctor because she was having me, she was having me do, blood pressure readings, like 5 times a day for 2 weeks. She's still having me do it because those readings came out really high. And I asked her at the appointment, how do we know if this blood pressure thing is not just like, because I'm stressed out all the time. Anyway, she said something about like how like I don't know, like it shouldn't be high like that all the time, even if I am like a overwhelmed busy mom. And it's hard for me to, I don't know, like I never used to be like this. Even just like, I don't know. I don't want to turn this on. It's too loud. Okay? It's too loud, buddy. But you can brush your teeth. Brush your teeth. Oh, dude. Brush your teeth. Watch the movie. I don't know, I feel like a lot of doctors just, they don't ask the deep questions. They don't, like, want to know the root of the issue. I mean, I've been struggling pretty much since I became a mom. But progressively, I feel like it just gets harder with each kid. And, I spent I don't know, since I was 17, trying to figure out who I am and my life and the things that I'm passionate about and that I love and care about. And the one thing I was 110% sure of was that I was passionate about family. That family was everything to me. Because I grew up very differently and lonely. And I didn't want to live a lonely life anymore. And I wanted to share my love. And I started that journey super young. You know, I fell in love with my husband at 17. He was 14 and a half years older than me and already had 2 kids. And yeah, our story is unique and insane and different, hard, tough. It was the hardest things I've ever done in my life. But I loved him and I loved his family. And I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to create something beautiful and meaningful. But, you know, of course, as you get older, for me, this was like after I had my first kid and I was only 20, 21, and I was still in that mode of figuring out who I am and what's good for me and what's not good for me. And you're so susceptible to other people's opinions and so vulnerable when you're a new mom. And there was a lot of, backlash about my relationship and our family because we were not we weren't like a typical family. And by after I had my second baby and I was 23, turning 24 or 24, turning 25, something like that, then I had come to the conclusion at that point in time that I had to go and be an independent woman. More so as a means to please my mother. Because according to her, my relationship was too codependent. Of course, looking back at it now, you realize there was nothing codependent about the relationship. We were 2 people that relied on each other to be partners and to be the parents of our children together. And his, other 2 children, I was supposed to be there for them too. We were a team. And in order to be a team, we have to be dependent on each other. And I don't think that there's anything wrong or toxic about that. Now, now that I understand. But back then, I had to learn a lot, we'll just say. And so I spent from 2019 to 2022 learning that and going through that journey. And I was alone with the kids. And in and out of stupid relationships that were awful and having to be alone and struggle and try to be strong, keep a strong face for my kids so that they could be kids and be happy kids and not worry about their mother, who internally was struggling every day. And I think through everything, like my body and my brain and my heart and my body, just everything was completely drained from me. And I finally came back after having a third baby with someone I should have never been involved with in the first place, who abandoned me and my son during the pregnancy, who would rather choose alcohol and drugs over me and the life that we had created, unintentionally, but nonetheless created, that I vowed to bring this life into this world and love it and care for it with all of my soul. That I did, and I'm keeping that promise. And I come back to be with my husband, the father of my other two kids, and he cares for my 20-month-old. No questions asked. He took us in, and I'm so grateful for him, and I love him with all of my heart, and I always have. I just had so much to learn, and I am grateful for the lessons and the learning. But man, did it take everything out of me, and I'm trying so hard to be okay again. Because honestly, I feel like the past few years was extremely traumatic. Everything that I went through, everything that my kids and I went through. We moved over 12 times, me and my kids, over the past, since 2019 to 2022, we moved over 12 times. I put my kids through that because I had to prove a point. Because I had to prove that I could do it all by myself. That I was strong enough and that I didn't need anyone. because I was convinced that the relationship that I had was abusive and toxic and codependent, and that my husband didn't want to see me succeed. It was all lies. It was all these seeds planted into my head that people watered until they became these weeds, and I had to leave. I was promised that my life would be better alone. And now that I'm not alone, like I have my husband, and I'm not far away from family, it's like my brain is still stuck in that trauma. And so I have these symptoms of high blood pressure and heart palpitations, and I can't stand for too long. I have heat intolerance. I'm almost constantly depressed. SSRIs don't help. I had to get off the ADHD medication because it was making my symptoms worse. And what's crazy is, like, I don't even know if the ADHD or the depression and the anxiety or the high blood pressure and all of the symptoms that I'm experiencing are like real, or if it's just because of everything that I've been through. And so this is how my body's reacting to it. And the only thing I would need to change to make them better is by getting out of that fight or flight response that seems to be like hardwired into my brain. Like, God forbid I made myself so sick, because I had to prove a point. And my kids are hurt. They're the ones that have to deal with me. And I'm short-tempered, and I'm irritable, and I have no patience. I have no will to play with them or to spend time with them. It's like I'm constantly trying to run away from them because I just can't handle it. It makes me feel like the worst person in the entire world. Like the worst mom. Because I vowed that when I became a mother, that I was never going to let my children feel the way that I did when I was a kid. And here I am, hiding away in my room and doing everything that I can to not have to do anything, because it's just too much. And me and my daughter used to be so close. She used to be so sweet and so happy to see me, and she was just my little girl, and now it's like she just is so filled with anger, and it's so hard for me to be around her, and I don't know what's wrong with me. I try to tell myself it's because I'm just like so overstimulated, like I'm breastfeeding, I'm constantly being touched, or I'm having to constantly hold my baby, or like all of my energy goes towards like him, and making sure he's okay, and taking care of he's, like I said, he's not talking, so I'm having to read his body language and try to understand everything that he wants or needs or doesn't want or doesn't need or anything like that. And he sleeps with us because I mean we just don't have the room for him to be anywhere else, and it's just so much. And the last thing that I want to do is to have it, take its toll on my relationship with my other two kids. And how it's like, I just feel like it's coming in between everything. And I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. My husband, he works. He is taking care of every single one of the people in this house on one income. And it's so hard. It's so hard. Because I feel guilty not being able to help him financially. And I know that my son is so young, it's hard for me to go and find work for 2 days out of the week. You know what I'm saying? And like, not to mention my lack of motivation, my inability to just do. Like, I just can't get it together, no matter how hard I try, no matter how much I know it needs to be done. There's nothing in me that can get me to just do it. I don't know why. I don't understand it. I don't know why I struggle with it so hard. Like, everything in my body is telling me it needs to be done. Just do it. It'll make you feel so much better. It'll make your husband so happy. It'll make the kids, like everything. And it doesn't matter. There's no rhyme or reason to it. That's why it's embarrassing, you know? I'm 30 years old and I shouldn't be like this. I shouldn't be so overwhelmed by the simplest things. The simplest things. And yet I'm just like, I'm paralyzed. I'm supposed to be setting a good example for my kids. And what do they get instead? I'm like this poltergeist. It's days like today where I just want to like run away from myself. And this is something that I want people to understand. People of my generation versus the previous generation, the people that raised us. My mom, she made it sound so doable, so achievable. If she could do it, then I could do it, kind of thing, right? If she could do it on her own, I could do it on my own. And the reality is that she didn't do it on her own. She had people that she had to look after me so that she could do what she needed to do or wanted to do. I didn't have that. I had nobody. And I had 2 kids, not 1. And things back then were a lot more affordable. And obviously, prices today are not. My first ever apartment, my 1-bedroom apartment, was, what was it? $1,900 a month. I had a job that was gonna pay that just fine. If COVID hadn't have happened and I got let go, the whole company got let go after 1 week of living in the apartment. That's when COVID shut everything down, and then I had no job to pay for rent. But man, you think about that, $1,900 a month for a 1-bedroom apartment, when my mom had me in the same city, different apartment. She was paying what, like $550, $600 tops for a 2-bedroom apartment. I mean, come on. So don't be hard on yourself if you couldn't do it the way your parents did. I did everything that I could. And I'm stubborn, I didn't give up, and even when I failed, I got back up and I did it again, and I tried and I tried and I tried. I tried to make it work. And I progressively got sicker and sicker and sicker. Mentally, emotionally, physically. This last pregnancy nearly killed me. And I just feel lifeless. And all I want to do is be happy. And spend time with my family and be happy. And take them outside and clean the house. Take care of myself. Be a good wife. And I can hardly get out of bed. I love my kids with everything that I am. And yet, I feel like I don't show that to them, or simultaneously I'm wanting to be away from them. I love being a mom while simultaneously hate it. I'm putting this out there because I know I can't be the only one who is struggling with motherhood and feeling overwhelmed all the time by absolutely everything. I hope I don't come across as ungrateful or spiteful or something. I love my kids. I just wish that I could be better for them. I want them to see me happy and lively. I want them to see me healthy. I want them to see that I love them so much. I don't know what's wrong with me. Why I can't just be better for them. I just want to be better for them. I don't know what's wrong with me. So, I wanted to just share with someone out there. and let you know that you're not alone. And, to try to just take it a day at a time, because that's what I do. Maybe that doesn't work. But I don't know what else to do right now.